So, welcome back, students, to Solving Equations with Rational Exponents on page 4. So, it is on the back of this right here. So, solving equations with rational exponents. So, rational exponents are exponents that are either integers, like this, like these exponents right here. So, 2 or -4, those are integers. Or they are fractions, or decimals that can be written as fractions. So, for example, this exponent right here, 5/4, or if I wanted to write it as 1.25, although you're not really going to see it written with a decimal. Or if I have one like this that we learned back here when we did this one, we learned that a cube root can be written with a 1/3 exponent. So this one right here, x minus 1 to the 1/3 equals 2. So that's a fraction exponent. So these are all rational exponents. That's what we mean. So we're going to learn how to solve equations that use those. And it's actually not too bad. So it's going to be a reverse PEMDAS type of problem. So here's our example. So I know I'm going to be doing PEMDAS backwards. So the first thing I want to do, if I can simplify the equation at all, then I want to do that. So if I have any exponent rules I can use, so the ones on the previous page, so if you look on page 3 and page 2, if you can use any of these rules to simplify, do that first. And in this case, there's nothing to simplify, so we're just going to jump on in and cancel out any addition or subtraction. So if I look here, there's this here I can cancel out because -8 is being added on. I can't get to this one yet because it's in the parentheses, so just add 8 to both sides. Cool, so that's done. Then you want to do any multiplication or division that is outside the parentheses. Now here I don't have any. Everything else that's left is either the exponent or the parentheses, so I can skip that step. So what I want to do is cancel the exponent using its reciprocal. So remember, if you have a fraction and you take its reciprocal, you're basically flipping it upside down. So the numerator and denominator switch. So the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. And remember, reciprocals cancel each other out because 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 2 is also 6, and this just becomes 1. So reciprocals cancel each other out. So I'm going to take x plus 6 to the 2/3, and I'm going to cancel that out with a 3/2 exponent on both sides. So both sides get an exponent of 3/2. Those cancel each other out. So now I have no more exponent to worry about. So this leaves me with x plus 6 equals 16 to the 3/2. And now this is just a number. I can put this in my calculator. So grab a calculator, and you're going to put 16 to the power of 3/2. So 16, and remember your exponent button's right there. 3/2. And I get 64. So x plus 6 equals 64. Now, here's something that you have to watch out for. If your exponent has a 2 on top, which ours did, it's a 2/3, you may end up with two solutions because you're taking the square root when you solve the equation. So right here, this little 2 in the denominator, remember that a square root equals a 1/2 exponent. So anytime I take a square root, I might end up with two solutions. So what you're going to just do is have two equations, one positive and one negative, after you do this step. And it's only when the numerator of your exponent is a 2. Other times in this class, you're not going to have to worry about that. So I have two equations. And then I just want to subtract 6. So I'll get x equals 58, or x equals -70. And then I'm finished, like that. So let's try a few more. Example 2. So first, I want to simplify, if I can, using the rules of radicals and exponents. So let's write that cube root with a power of 1/3. So I'm going to write 5 times 125x to the power of 1/3 equals 25. And then I want to add or subtract. Well, there's nothing to add or subtract in this problem anywhere. Then I want to multiply or divide outside the parentheses. So there's a 5 outside the parentheses. I can divide by it to cancel it. So I have 125x to the 1/3 power equals 5. Yay, so that's done. Now I need to cancel the exponent using its reciprocal. So what's the reciprocal of 1/3? Go ahead and choose which answer you think it is. Okay, good. Hopefully you chose 3 or 3/1 as your reciprocal. So 1/3 and 3/1 cancel each other out. Yay, canceled. And then don't forget to do the same over here. You can put 3 or you can put 3/1. They're the same thing. So I have 125x equals, and then 5 to the 3/1. Just put that in your calculator. You get 125. This one only had one solution, unlike this that had two solutions because our exponent had a 2 on top. This exponent has a 1 on top, so you don't have to worry about it. And then, so that's done. Then finally, tackle anything that was in parentheses, so just divide by 125. And you get x equals 1. Okay, let's try one more together. I'm going to try number 4 together. I'm going to tell you why, and then you're going to try 3 and 5 and see if you can do it. So example 4. I want you guys to put a star or something by example 4, because there's an issue that a lot of kids mess up on this type of problem. So I'm going to start by adding or subtracting anything outside the parentheses. Now there's no parentheses in this problem, and that's the part that messes kids up, and I'll show you when we get there. But for right now, go ahead and subtract 2. You can get rid of this guy. So negative 12 equals negative 3x to the 1/2. Now what kids tend to want to do at this point is cancel that exponent. But we just did the add subtract step. We still need to do the multiply divide step. And notice this exponent does not go with the negative 3. This step right here is where people tend to mess up. Don't forget to divide by negative 3 first. Okay, so now that that step's done, now we can cancel out that exponent. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is, good, hopefully you said 2/1, or just 2. Those cancel out, which gives you x equals, and then 4 squared is 16. So go ahead and try 3 and then 5, and then come back to check them. All right, welcome back. So example 3, you should have gotten x equals 42. So there's no add, subtract, multiply, or divide outside the parentheses, so go ahead and cancel the exponent with its reciprocal of 2/3. And then there's only one solution. And then example 5, notice we're going to have two solutions potentially, because we do have a 2 at the top of this exponent, which means later we're going to be taking square root. So go ahead and cancel that exponent with its reciprocal. And then, so you're going to get this be 64 in your calculator, but remember to do one also with negative 64, almost like when we were doing the absolute value equations actually. Then subtract 4 from each side, and then finally divide by negative 12, and you get x equals negative 5, and x equals 17/3.